we will have this recording available after the session. We'll send that out to you. My name is Jocelyn Philbrook, and joining me today is House of Brick CTO Jeff Stonacek. And also from Cirrus Data, we have Mark Greenlaw, who's the Vice President of Market Strategy. During the session, we are going to be delving into the critical aspects of Oracle database migration. We're going to talk about pitfalls, and Mark and Jeff are going to discuss practical strategies to ensure you have a smooth migration. Mark and Jeff are also going to share insights, some real world examples, and give you practical advice that will help you have a successful migration. We also have some time at the end of this presentation for Q&A, so feel free to engage with us throughout the webinar. You'll see a little chat button on the bottom of your screen. There's also a Q&A, so feel free to enter your questions there, and we'll get to them at the end. Without further ado, Jeff, I know we still have a few more people that are coming in. I can see them, but I'm going to turn it over to you, sir. So the floor is yours. Thank you so much for hosting this today.
Yes, thanks, Jocelyn. As Jocelyn said, my name is Jeff Stonacek. I'm CTO here at House of Brick. We also have Mark Greenlaw from Cirrus Data, who's Vice President of Sales. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of information about House of Brick. We're a decades-old consulting company that has historically dealt with Oracle, Unix type of technical services. We also go deep into virtualization and also cloud lately. Another thing we've become experts in the last few years is Oracle licensing. So we bring both that technical expertise to the table as well as the licensing expertise to bring it all together. There's really no way to optimize your license unless you understand the technology. So that's where we come in. So the agenda for my overview today, I'm going to talk about the different replication technologies to get your data into the cloud. And then I'm going to talk about the proof of concept that House of Brick did in conjunction with Cirrus Data to show the different methodologies for getting Oracle databases moved into the cloud. And then after I go through that, I'm going to talk about the licensing implications of both methodologies because the difference is very stark. And then when I'm done, then Mark will take it away and he'll talk about the Cirrus Data technology, the software, and a little bit about the company. And then as Jocelyn said at the end, we'll go through your questions and answer everything you need answers to. All right, so I'm going to go through this fairly high level. We'll talk about the white paper in a little bit, but basically when we did the proof of concept, we used two different data replication technologies. We used Oracle Data Guard, and then we contrast that with the Cirrus Data technology to migrate your data. So there's probably a lot of Oracle DBAs on the call, a lot of Oracle folks that are familiar with these technologies, but Data Guard uses all Oracle database technology to perform the clone and to keep the database in sync, to perform that data replication. So the steps at a high level are, you clone your database. We used RMAN. Oracle uses the redo log mechanism to keep track of the change blocks, uses the TNS mechanism to ship those blocks over to the target. And then on the target side, redo apply will keep the database in sync as we move along. And Data Guard is a DR technology as well, so that database will be kept in sync perpetually until you do something with it. The kicker is that as soon as you start using Data Guard, there's a licensing liability for all of that database software on the target side. And that's really one of the key points I want to talk about today from my standpoint. I know Mark has a lot to say about the efficiency and the technology around the Cirrus Data solution. and it is good technology. But I want to talk about the licensing, and you'll see later on why that's very important. Cirrus Migrate Cloud, on the other hand, the entire migration is controlled through the Cirrus data control plane. So there's a control plane where you set these things up. You configure your source host, your target host, your devices that you want to keep in sync. The big difference is that Cirrus data replicates block devices. So we're not using a software mechanism like Oracle database to do this replication. We're using low-level storage replication technology to monitor for change blocks at those devices, and then ship those to the target and apply them to the devices on the target side. So since you don't really have any Oracle software installed, there's no licensing liability on the target, and that's the big differentiating factor in my viewpoint. There's obviously other technology differentiators, but that's a huge win if you're trying to move a large, complex fleet of Oracle databases up into the cloud. I just want to talk a little bit about the proof of concept. Very simple proof of concept. One on-premises environment, a simple virtual machine with 4 vCPUs and 32 gig of memory, a relatively digestible size for the database, 200 gigs. So not tiny, but not big by any stretch of the imagination in 2024. The target environment was AWS. We were running on an R5 X large EC2 instance, same size as the source, 4 vCPUs and 32 gig of memory. And then we had a couple of standard EBS volumes set up on the AWS side. We wanted to make this kind of real world, so we set up HammerDB as a load generation tool on the source side. HammerDB allows you to dial up or down your activity, but it acts like an application where it's actually making changes to the database and providing a load. So we're generating redo, we're doing all of that, just like any other application while we're doing this migration test. So I'm sure Jocelyn can provide you with links to the white paper, but we go through all of the gory details about the configuration for both DataGuard and Cirrus data through that white paper, and we diagram out what we did as part of the proof of concept. So for the DataGuard migration, the steps are going to be familiar to anybody familiar with Oracle database. Prepare the target environment. Step 2, install the Oracle software. You can't move forward with the DataGuard migration until you have the software installed and functional on the target side. And that's the kicker right there, is as soon as you install that Oracle software, you've got a licensing liability. Configure DataGuard on the source and the target. We used RMAN to instantiate standby database. And then DataGuard takes care of all of those block replication, replicating all of those change blocks with the redo mechanism and applying them on the target side. So the failover steps, fairly straightforward. At House of Brick, we've done a lot of database migrations. We do data center migrations, hardware refreshes, lately a lot of cloud migrations. So we're familiar with all of these, the mechanics around the technology to get your database moved up and get your applications working, right? So stop your application at the source. Through the Oracle mechanism, you do the failover to the standby database. Your standby is now activated, and then you start up your applications on your target side, do your user testing, turn the application over to the users, and you've been migrated. At that point, you still have a licensing liability on both sides until you complete that last step, which is to decommission the Oracle software on the source. So all the time you're running this migration, doing your testing, you've got that dual install liability. Cirrus data replication is a bit different, the migration steps. Once again, you have to prepare your target environment. You have to make sure you have network connectivity, that things can talk to one another. And very simple preparation of the storage. Basically, you just need those block devices there on the target side. So we connect to the Cirrus data control plane. As long as your account is set up and everything is talking to one another with the networks, you set up your source host, set up your target host. You configure your source volumes and your target volumes that you want to replicate. And then you configure your migration session and kick that off, and Cirrus data will replicate those block devices and keep track of all those changed blocks at the low, the storage level, and then ship those and apply them at the device level. So the key differentiator here is there's never any software installed on the target side, as long as you do it correctly, right? You don't need the Oracle software installed on the target, so you don't have that licensing liability. The failover steps are quick and easy. As long as everything's configured properly, it's a very straightforward failover. You stop your applications again on the source side, shut down this is really where it differentiates. On the source, you shut down and decommission the Oracle software before you move forward with finishing your migration. Decommissioning the software can be accomplished very quickly and easily. It can also be accomplished where the failback is quick and easy. So again, this is a little high level to get into those gory details, but it can be done. We perform a final sync because at that point, your database is quiesced and in a consistent state. So we transfer those last few remaining blocks and then start the database up on the target side, start your application, turn it over to the users, and it's at that point, you've accomplished your migration. So until we actually go to start up the database, again, that's where we have the licensing liability on the target side. So we're never in a dual install state. I just wanted to bring up a kind of a screenshot of the Cirrus Migrate Cloud control plane here. Mark has all kinds of information and details about how Cirrus data works, but that's just a view of what the control plane looks like. Now here's really the point of what I wanted to talk about today. If you look at the cost of just that one EC2 instance with 4 vCPUs, with all of the database products that you have in play for this database, the list price for the software is $240,000 just for that AWS instance. Now, that's list price. Everybody gets a discount. You could use term licenses to reduce that a little further. You're still talking a 6-figure licensing liability, no matter what you do. Cirrus data is $270 per terabyte. We were using 200 gig. That was our cost. Mark can talk a lot more about cost than me, so I'll let him get into those great details. So that's all I have. If you have any questions about Oracle licensing or any questions about moving Oracle to the cloud, reach out to House of Brick, reach out to Cirrus Data. They know how to get a hold of us. And then bring in the experts and we'll talk through all of that with you. All right, I'm going to stop sharing, Mark, and you can take it from here.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. You know, the sense that we can do this live is very true. Let me talk a little bit about Cirrus Data. So Cirrus Data was founded in 2011 by two brothers, Wei and Wayne Lamb. They've been in the storage industry for a very long time. They did Falcon Store, Cheyenne Software, and others. We are a global company with headquarters in the United States, in New York. We are partners with all the people who are storage, and the sense of what you bring to the table is a great deal of flexibility. We have very significant differentiation in the marketplace. We have 13 patents associated with getting into the data path non-disruptively, migrating the data from source to destination without trouble. So as Jeff was describing, we're running HammerDB. We only move the data when the particular LUNs are not busy. Obviously, on a small database, a 200 gig database, you're not talking about multiple LUNs. But when you get into larger environments and multiple LUNs to move, it becomes very important that we do this transparently. We have moved over an exabyte of data with across 4,000 different customer engagements. So this is what we do. We do this all day, every day. We help customers get from source to destination. After all, there's usually a reason we're doing this. If we're going to the cloud, if we're going to a new environment on-prem or consolidating locations, there's an ROI associated with what we're doing. And as Jeff pointed out, clearly there's a huge difference between using Oracle tools and using Cirrus tools. Even at a list price basis, Cirrus is a much more cost-effective solution than the Oracle licensing that's pointed out. Well, why do we talk about data migration? We live and breathe this every day, and typical data migrations are slow and unpredictable. Gartner estimates that about 50% of enterprises will exceed their budgets or their timelines or both. And the challenge, of course, is, you want to do this online with minimal disruption to everybody. What's the single biggest problem? Well, we have to get an outage for enabling the tool, or we have to get an outage to install things, and this can be difficult and not predictable. The other challenge you have is we've just introduced two different tools. We've got DataGuard and we've got Cirrus. There are lots of exceptions to everything. We'll talk about what kinds of exceptions we have, which are we don't have exceptions. When it comes to Oracle data, we can do Oracle RAC, we can do ASM volumes, we can do everything we need to do in your Oracle environment and get you from source to destination. Customers, oftentimes lack the skills, and sometimes the Oracle people, Oracle DBAs in particular, don't necessarily trust people who are storage folks in having the skills necessary to do this non-disruptively. We can, and we'll send you a little video of a YouTube video of an Oracle migration, an Oracle RAC migration going from source to destination with zero application downtime, including going from source to destination, no disruption. So what do? Well, we literally are vendor agnostic. So we migrate from any block storage, any vendor, to any other block storage, no exceptions. So when we're going up into the cloud, we can go up into AWS, we can go into Microsoft Azure, Google, Oracle Cloud, it doesn't matter. When we move data, especially when we do it to the cloud, we are 4 to 6 times faster than traditional data migrations. We get that kind of capability going into the cloud because we do it data reduced. So we de-zero and compress the data in flight. That gives us a performance advantage. As a matter of fact, one of the side effects that we found during the migration was that the Cirrus migration finished in half the time. Now, 200 gig, that doesn't really matter, right? You're talking, the difference of minutes to hours, and that's not really substantial. But let's say I have 100 terabytes of data. That could be the difference between weeks and months and hours to days. And so this matters significantly when we have things at scale. We have a technology called intelligent quality of service. What intelligent quality of service lets us do is watch the source LUNs. And if they get busy, we stop migrating. We literally pause the migration until a time when those LUNs are not busy. That gives us the ability to have a 24/7 migration window without impacting the application. We do the data reduction in flight. We also have automation that we've built in very specifically so we can create the LUNs you need for the data migration. You don't have to be a storage expert. We'll land on AWS, create the volumes that we need, and then do the migration. We do a non-disruptive migration to infrastructure. We don't require that you do anything to the host, so there's no minimum OS levels or Oracle levels or anything else, no config changes. It's safe and secure, very little, very minimal to zero downtime. Clearly, if I'm going to go from on-prem to the cloud, yes, I have to turn off things on-prem and turn it on to the cloud in order to ensure that we transition properly. But let's say I'm going to go from vendor A to vendor B on site. Well, I can do that with zero downtime. As long as I'm in a clustered environment, we can do that with zero downtime. We also back it up with our people. You can use our people in a full turnkey migration if you'd like. We've got a global services team that'll do that. We've done a lot of migrations. We can also do what we call teach the fish, where we do a portion of the migrations for you. You watch what we're doing, and then you take it over. One of the comments that Jeff gave us when he was doing this was it was fairly intuitive. He actually ran on his own. He's a smart guy, but he was able to do most of the work on his own with very little training. This gives you the ability to move simply, securely, and quickly from source to destination. We have two different kinds of migration. Jeff used our Cirrus Migrate Cloud technology, which allows you to split the data plane and the management plane. The management plane is a web-based tool, software as a service solution. We can get into Windows and Linux environments non-disruptively and move you from source to destination. We also have an appliance-based solution that's that enables us to get into a Solaris environment, an AIX environment, et cetera. And that enables us to deal with the nuances. Obviously, if we're going up to the cloud, we're not bringing AIX or Solaris to the cloud. So a Cirrus Migrate Cloud is a great solution. Kinds of migrations that we do. We do a tech refresh kind of migration probably 50% of the time. And a lot of times when we're transitioning between vendors, this happens non-disruptively. Going from source to destination enables you to get there. Our licensing model is very simple. As you saw, Jeff had licensed 1 terabyte for $270 at list, right? And so as we scale up, your licensing pricing goes down. If the host sees a terabyte, that is what you need for a terabyte licensing. And that's consistent across all our modes. Whether we're doing a data center relocation or consolidation or a cloud migration, because after all, what is a cloud? It's just another data center remotely out there. So these are special migrations. We go over IP networks. When we go over IP networks, we de-zero and compress the data, and we encrypt it. So it is efficient, fast, and secure, giving you what you need to do to get from source to destination. From an ROI perspective, we've done large-scale migrations. We've done small migrations. We had a large insurance company that had a petabyte of storage, a variety of applications. They needed to move off of that infrastructure quickly so that they could avoid a big maintenance bill. We did that during production downtime with zero downtime, gave them a $3 million savings. We had we just got out of tax season, so this one has a little less impact, but we had a Big Four accounting firm that was having multiple drive failures in their environment, and they wanted to get off this environment quickly and easily. We moved them off of that environment during tax season with no disruption. We have a global financial enterprise. This one is one at scale, right? We had 11 petabytes and 3,600 hosts. We moved them from an expiring set of storage over to a new storage paradigm, and did that with no disruption in a little over 14 months, 11 petabytes of data. The interesting thing about that global financial enterprise is they've changed course. They're now going to switch from fiber channel-based solutions over to a software-defined environment, and they're going to use us again for that environment. So that's what you really get there. We solve the data migration problem by simplifying it. We literally have no interoperability matrix. We go from source to destination, from any block storage to any other block storage. We can go from on-prem to the cloud. We can go from the cloud back on-prem using that same paradigm. We can also go from tier to tier in the cloud. So if you're on EBS today and you want to go to what we call a cloud virtual array, that is Cloud Block Store, PowerFlex, or Cloud Volume ONTAP, we can do that as well. We migrate the data live. You have a 24/7 window that means you don't have to worry about it impacting performance of your databases, because we're not going to move it with IQOS enables us to make sure we're not moving it when it's busy. We actually can run significantly faster, especially to the cloud, 4 to 6 times faster than some tools that are out there. We were 2 times faster than DataGuard in the solution that we had. A lot of folks are looking for transformation in that VMware environment. They're not happy with the way Broadcom has done things. We can literally move you from a VMware environment to other virtualization technologies or directly to cloud native. We can go up there and go from a VMware environment on-prem to cloud native. We do that in one step as part of the migration. We do things with either minimal or zero downtime. Obviously, this is critical in the 24/7 world. We have different technologies that we use, but it is patented ability to go from source to destination with little to no downtime. And we back it up with our expert team of professional services people that can be used turnkey, teach the fish, or if you're comfortable, like Jeff is, basically doing it on your own with very little training, and you just buy a very cost-effective solution to go from source to destination. With that, it's at the 11:29. I see that we've had a couple of questions in the chat. So Jocelyn, if you'd like, why don't you post up those questions so that we can answer them?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Jeff and Mark, for taking the time to bring us through that. Just as a reminder to everyone, as Mark said, you can ask a question in the Q&A that's down at the bottom of your screen, or you can chat. So go ahead and do that now. We do have some questions in the chat, so let's get started. So the first one, Mark and Jeff, is, does the cost of Oracle scale as customers scale up their capacity like Cirrus does?
So I'll take that one. Obviously, after my my slideshow. Yes. So the cost of Oracle software is based on processor. So as you deploy more Oracle things onto more processors, the cost goes up. The threshold for a licensing liability with Oracle software is installed. So as soon as you install the software, you have the liability on that server. So in my example, we had a 4 vCPU AWS EC2 instance. And as soon as you install the software there, you have the liability. So as you scale out in your cloud deployments, until you decommission the software, you are going to scale out your cost for the Oracle software.
Okay, great. I'm gonna so Tracy has 2 questions, but I'm gonna skip down to Chris. Is OCI supported as a cloud migration target? This is for Cirrus. And what is the database size limitation?
Mark, do you want to take that one?
Could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Sorry. So Mark, is OCI supported as a cloud migration target? This is for Cirrus. And
Yes,
what
it
is
is.
and what is the database size limitation, if any?
We don't have any database size limitation. We can scale down. We obviously scaled down to 200 gig. The minimum increment for us is 1 terabyte. So we can scale down to 1 terabyte. Obviously, that's a relatively minor environment, but we are willing to go down to 1 terabyte. We've scaled this to the petabyte level, and we've actually engaged customers at tens of petabytes and happy to do so.
Okay, so one more question in here. Again, anybody, if you have follow-ons, feel free to put them in the chat or Q&A. Otherwise, this is going to be our last one. This is from Tracy again. For large-scale infrastructure where we have greater than 100 clusters, can they all be migrated at the same time? And what does Cirrus offer to migrate in this scale?
That's a great question. If we have 100 different databases that need to go together, we coordinate the QoS points so that we're doing that. We would probably have parallel agents running on multiples. So CMC is an agent base. So if we have one host, if it's one host, everything can be done collectively together. We run it multi-threaded. So we have the ability to go there. If it's 100 separate hosts, we would have to coordinate that and coordinate the QoS point, but we create a consistency group across there and do that. And our professional services team would coordinate the final cutover to make sure all of the databases sync together so that you end up with a consistent database in the end user. So if you're interested, certainly reach out to us. We have some of our professional services people on the line, and we would be happy to do a workshop and figure out how best to take on the complexity of moving your databases.
Okay, great. So we are a little past 11:30 now, so we're going to call it here. I want to just thank everybody for joining us today. There will be a recording of this made available. We will also, for everybody that attended, we will also send them the House of Brick white paper. Thank you again, Jeff, for taking us through this and doing the research required. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, we'll see you again soon. Thank you.